Right, okay. You lot, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can catch all of our videos. And if you're really interested in the Krays, join our private Facebook group, Krays Crime Lords of London. You'll find over 1,000 videos and thousands of images. We're moderated and friendly. Come and give us a try.
We continue our story on when I first joined up with the Kray firm in 1965. I could see why the twins wanted me on board, but how could they be sure of my loyalty? Reggie had only just shot me, and most people, bent as well as straight, would think that shooting someone is a crazy way to recruit him to your gang. What's to stop that person biding his time and doing the same to you, or betraying you someday to the police? Such thoughts never seemed to cross the twins' minds. Strange as it seems, this was their normal method of initiation. I know half a dozen people who were recruited in a similar way, including my brother-in-law, Bill. The same thing happened to him, only worse. He was cut to pieces and nearly lost an eye. There was Lenny Hamilton himself. Despite his branding, even he signed on with the twins. 9 times out of 10, people on the real, inner firm, not fringe folk like the Lambrianou brothers, had first had a ruck with the twins. They'd come unstuck, but had stood up to the punishment. Only then were they made full members of the firm. Any logical reading of human nature will tell you that, in the long run, this is a mad way to hire thugs. But of course, the twins were mad, and in some respects there was method in their madness. Most of the time they were looking for good all-round hoodlums, not weak-willed hangers-on. When they were on a recruitment drive, the first thing they wanted to know was, were you good with your fists? If you could fight, this was a good sign that you might be some use to their criminal organization. They'd also go for people with a reputation in one of the local manors. You could be from Hackney, Bethnal Green, Poplar, Bow, or wherever. But once the twins knew you were the main man, if it suited them, they would take you to pieces in your local pub or club to see how you reacted. If they heard you wanted to call the police, they would not even try to recruit you. You'd just be done over a few more times until you were no threat. Once you were done, you were theirs for life. That was their idea. Like breaking in a horse. The beating or shooting was their way of giving a message. Then you had the choice. Go to the police, or do something about it. Come at them. But if you chose to do neither, okay, that's it. Forget it. End of. They're thinking you hadn't gone to the police despite a serious injury, and you haven't tried to shoot their heads off, so you must be a staunch fellow. When my leg was out of plaster, and I had fully recovered, I took my place among the chaps. I soon got to know the firm's exact strength. At the top, of course, were the 3 Krays. There was the twins' older brother Charlie, who was more on the business side. He had a good appearance, and he could talk. He wasn't spivvy, and he had a bit of charm, so he would meet respectable types. He could handle all that side. When he was among us EastEnders at the day club in the Regency, he had a bit of a gangster's swagger. But when he was sent to meet half-straight business types in West End hotels, then he would put on his educated style. I think he was a lot brighter than the twins. He took little part in the day-to-day running of the firm, but he knew what was going on. Then there were the twins. Reggie was 5'9", well built but slighter than Ronnie, who was 2 stone heavier and carried himself to suit the weight. Reggie was more agile, fit and athletic. He'd march with you, and when we'd go for a breath of fresh air in Victoria Park, He would break into a boxer's training run and start sparring. Ronnie used to amble along, but if he had to step out and get a move on, he would strut. He was bordering on fat and was getting a bit soft and jowly, whereas Reggie remained tight and hard throughout my time with them. On the firm, I soon became known as Reggie's man, Big Albert. Whenever he wanted a henchman, bodyguard, or just company, I'd go with him. Then there was Scotch Ian Barry. He was known as Ronnie's man. Then both Ian and I were partnered off again. My partner was Ronnie Hart, a distant cousin of the twins. Ian's partner was Scotch Jack Dixon. Then we had a few loose muscle guys like Ronnie Bender and Big Tommy Brown. If we had to put on a show of strength, going plenty-handed, these were some of the people we could call on, but they weren't actually members of the firm. We were all thugs with scarcely any education, and only some of us had any common sense. Consequently, there had to be an executive side to the organization, consisting of little Tommy Cowley, and above all, a very bright, educated and funny man called Leslie Payne, who, to my regret, fell out of favor at the court of the twins not long after I joined. The firm was run a bit like a conventional business. Every morning at 9 o'clock we used to have a meeting at Valence Road to discuss what we were going to do for the rest of the day, who to visit, who to use, who to take, who was going to drive. And then we would pick up all these friends and put them to work. At the meeting we would also discuss any information we'd got from the night before. This was where the twins got a hefty return on all the little payoffs they had made to people when they were in jail or when they came out. Just as I had told Ronnie I had come to the Crown and Anchor to get a few quid off them, most of London's professional criminals knew that, whoever you were, you could come straight out of the nick and the twins would help you with some cash. This wasn't charity. All these guys were required to pay the money back in kind, with information. The twins would just say to each one, "Where are you?" And the guy would say, "I'm in Paddington," or "I'm in Fulham," or wherever. So they would say, "Well, if you hear anything in Paddington, let us know." For Ronnie and Reggie, the return on all these handouts over the years was a vast network of informers. Anywhere in London, anything that went off, we knew more or less within an hour who was involved, how much they'd got, and where they lived. Everything. So at the morning meeting, the discussion might start with the other two, saying, "We heard that so-and-so went off last night. It's a little team out of Hackney. It's got about that they're selling the stuff today, and they're going to get 5 or 6 grand for their whack. Running this team is Charlie Brown. Now this Charlie owes us a favour, so pop round and see him. Tell him to come and see us, or get a bit of dough off him." So we'd ask the twins, "What sort of dough you talking?" And they might say they want a monkey, £500 or 1,000. Most of the people who've written and spoken about the firm discuss the 3 known murders, Cornell, Jack the Hat and Mitchell. But the firm's main work was hustling day to day, night after night. Usually there was a big agenda to get through at the 9 o'clock meets. Who had heard what? Who'd done this? But if it was a thin day and there was nothing on, then the twins would have a bet between themselves. "All right," Reggie would say, "we'll go out, me and Albert, and so will Ronnie and Ian, and I bet you a tenner we get more dough than you." "Right, okay." And off we'd go, and we'd blag whoever we could think of. Then we'd come back and compare what kind of money we'd come up with. It was easy to pick up £1,000. But £500 was probably the normal. We'd be blagging off people like budding promoters, crooked bookmakers, geezers who had spiels, people who had clubs. You always got the money under the guise of a loan that was going to come back later. Guaranteed, we'd say. But they would never see it again. And in their hearts, they knew it. Soon, it became clear to me that the twins operated within a series of circles, each trusted with a different degree of confidence. The regular inner crowd would meet at 9 every morning, but anyone else would be invited in only to discuss the specific business the twins had in mind for them. After the meeting, most people would drift away. There might be just 1 or 2 of us left, and that's when you would get some nitty-gritty. The twins would say, "We don't trust this one," or "Keep an eye on so-and-so." They'd tell us who to pay, who not to pay, who was in their favour at the time, who was out of favour, and who was out and in deep, deep trouble with the brothers Kray. Fairly early on, I realised they would discuss certain things with me that they wouldn't discuss with others. This may not prove I was a special confidant. It was partly divide and rule. But certainly Reggie did a lot of his confidential business with only me present. I was always with him, alone, when he went on his business meets. I looked the part, big, fit and menacing, but I was always far more than a bodyguard. It's clear that the twins instantly felt able to trust me with big sums of money. Within days of joining the firm, I was their main collector of protection payoffs, not just in the East End, but in the rich pastures of the West End too.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please join our Facebook group. It's called Krays Crime Lords of London. We're a friendly moderated group with over 1,000 Kray and other celebrated gangster videos available for view. There's also thousands of images in the photos sections. The link for the group is in the YouTube description section. I hope we see you there soon.
Leave a like and subscribe.